Here are some tips for choosing a web domain name, especially if you don't have one already. Now, take all of these with a grain of salt. Sometimes it's impossible to implement all of these strategies with your domain name because many are already taken, but you have to kind of weigh the pros and cons of each. So let's get straight to it. Tip number one is obvious. Ideally, it's the name of your business. So you might be starting out right now and you're trying to think of a name for a business, and it might be important to go to that website URL and see if that website is available. Also, with all of the other social media platforms out there, YouTube, Facebook, all of those platforms, see if there are other profiles for that name. If the domain name that matches your company name is already taken, it's okay. We can come up with some other creative solutions, but ideally your domain name matches your exact business name. Tip number two is just to make it easy to remember. You're going to be saying your domain name a lot. You're going to be putting it in graphics, you're going to be putting it in articles, you're going to be saying it on podcasts, you're going to be saying it all over the place. And so you want to make it easy for people to remember. This generally means shorter is better. I'm kind of breaking this rule with videoschoolonline.com, but there are a lot of websites out there, at least that I like and that I've learned from, that have sort of longer website names like Smart Passive Income, listenmoneymatters.com. As domain names get taken up, you do have to get a little bit creative and perhaps stretch it out a bit longer, but obviously shorter is better. The next tip is use keywords. And this is also maybe to do with your business name. Video School Online, I'm using keywords right there. Video, school, those are two keywords that if people are searching for, then perhaps they're going to be interested in my products and services. Something a little bit more hitting the nail on the head would have been video courses or learnvideo.com or learnphotography.com. But those domains are probably already taken. If you do build up your website and you start getting traffic and you are doing it for a while, search engines like Google, though, will start directing people to your website, especially if your keywords are in your URL or your domain name. That affects if your website shows up in the results. So if people are searching something like online video school, my website is likely to show up. The next tip is to use a .com if you can. .coms are just the best. It's what people are used to. Yes, people are using all kinds of different URL extensions now, and it's okay if you need to. .net and perhaps .org if you're an organization are two extensions that I would try to go for if the .com is not available. But personally, I do still stay away from the more creative ones. And I know that there are a bunch of new URL extensions out there. You can get .game, .video, .photography, .college. You can get any sort of domain extension now, but people just aren't used to that yet. And so still .coms are going to be better. The next tip hopefully is obvious, but avoid copyright infringement. So this means that I can't use like Nike in my URL. I can't be nikeshoes.com because they already have Nike copyrighted. Even if it's a smaller company, you should be wary of this. So make sure that you do a check to see if any of the words that you're using in your URL are trademarked. The next tip is to just avoid hyphens or numbers in your URL. Numbers are very confusing because if I was video325.com, is it the numbers 3 or do you spell it out? It's just confusing unless if you can get both URLs. So if your site is oneand1.com and you get written out one or the numbers oneand1.com, that's fine, and that might work for you, but it still might confuse people. And then lastly, like I mentioned earlier, check the social media accounts for your business name and for the website that you're going to use. So when I got started, I made sure to snap up the Video School Online Facebook page, the Video School Online YouTube channel. This is not a make or break situation anymore. There's lots of businesses, especially online businesses now, that use their personal YouTube account, for example, and then they changed to a business, but it's still the Phil Ebener YouTube channel in the URL. With social media, it's kind of the same thing with Instagram or Pinterest or Facebook. Ideally, you are having the URL that matches. So if someone goes to facebook.com/videoschoolonline, it goes to my business and not someone else's. But if you can't get every social media account under your exact business name, it's okay, but try to get as many as possible. So those are some tips for picking your own domain name. I hope they help. If you need any help choosing between a domain name and another one, please post in the class. Let us know. Let Diego and I know what your ideas are, and we'll help you come up with what we think the best one is for your business.